Okay, so I'll wait for 2 more minutes and then I'll start. So meanwhile, whatever doubt, did you all have any doubt? So you all can let me know. Okay, so I'll start. Okay, am I audible and visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. So yes, today we are going to Akanksha. You can start the recording. Okay. So today we are going to talk about SFT, that is Sensate Focus Therapy. Any idea what is Sensate Focus Therapy? Anyone who have read this book of Sex Position by Nancy? Anyone? Or the Unshamed book written by Dr. Neha Bhatt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So
No,
definitely if I'm getting this soft copy, I'll be sharing. But मेरे को I don't feel that soft copy is there, but still I'll search and if I get, I'll share that. So I want you all, like whenever you all are getting our time, it's just a page of 100. What is the page? I don't know what exactly is the page, but it's a very small book, 97, not even 100. Yes. 97. So I would request you all to read this book, at least to understand what sort of client would be coming up and what position they would be talking about. Now, this book is not limited to some sort of positions which are there for couples, but add on to that, in Wikipedia, if you search about sex positioning, there are so many poses of sex. So definitely we need to know that. And yeah, there are sex therapists. Now, this is the reason I don't want to start. Okay. So the moment we talk about sex, it's not only that a psychologist or a therapist does. To know about to become a sex therapist, at least in India, we require to go for an intense training to understand about sexual positions, the kink or the erotic preferences of the client. Now, it's not only that the client have some sort of sexual disorder, but it's their preference. It's out of their preferences they want to explore. Now, today itself, I'm not going to name. I can see that individual is there. So he or she, I won't say again, asked me that why I write sex therapist and sex educator. Now I have certification for both as a sex therapist as well as a sex educator. Now, what is the difference between sex educator and a sex therapist? Now, when you are dealing with client in your session, whether online, whether offline, that the time you are a sex therapist. And when you are teaching something, when you are providing some sort of lecture, again it can be in some sort of university, in some sort of organization, in school, anywhere. When you are delivering a speech on some sort of sex, some sort of erotic preferences, sex positions, that is what you are an educator is. Now there is a that is only the fine difference. Now if you want to be a sex therapist or a sex educator, right now there are so many certification courses. But again, to keep in mind, it depends on you also as a therapist or as an educator how you are comfortable with, or whether you are comfortable also or not. Because the moment I received my degrees, or not the degree, honestly, the certificate courses, I was like, "Arey, mere ko karne, like I have to show the client and I have to touch them or not." So if you are not comfortable, because you can listen, or the moment I am going to talk about the genital touch, the non-genital touch, you can understand how difficult it is. Again, it depends on the therapist also. That if you are not comfortable, you can only become an educator. If you are comfortable, you can become a therapist. But if you want to explore both the sides, you can go for the certification courses. Now, the therapist is to become a sex therapist, there are so many courses, but to become a sex educator, only hardly 5 or 6 institutions provide that to become an educator. Because there is a difference. While we are dealing up with client, we don't talk about some sort of other things. But when we conduct courses, when we conduct workshops and collaboration, we talk about much more things. So there is a difference between sex educator and sex therapist. Now we can all know that to talk about sex is very easy. Definitely, it's easy right now, because we can talk about sex, we can talk about the preferences, that is the erotic preferences. But when we talk about sensate focus, now what exactly is sensate focus therapy? Now it's a much more vast form of sex therapy, which we do, or which we ask the client in front of us, they have to do certain sort of things. Now it includes both the psychological, the physical, as well as the sexual approaches. It's not only that you are getting intimate with the client, or the client is showing some sort of intimacy with you, but in sensate focus therapy, our main focus is to have that client in that speed or in that space where you as a therapist are also comfortable. Because if I talk about feather therapy, now sensate focus is a huge therapy. When I talk about feather therapy, उसमें क्या होता है, you need a feather. Now that feather is a sort of non-living thing, but you have to do a role play in front of the client, so that he feels that yes, my therapist understands me. For example, this is not a feather, but when I'll be doing this in front of the client in genital touch or in non-genital touch, I would be touching my body, I would be touching my genital areas, my non-genital areas also. But if you are an educator, You can touch, you can't touch. It depends on you. But when you are a therapist and you are performing sensate focus therapy in front of the client, you have to make sure that you are comfortable in that space, because you don't know what the client is up to. It's not, and also it's not at all comfortable with the client that you are touching your boobs, you are touching your arms. And also, when I did my training, I don't know whether it's true or not, but our teacher said us, David sir said me, not only me, but to hold the batch, that whenever we are supposed to do sensate focus therapy, we have to wear some sort of attractive saris or any sort of attractive dresses, so that the client can feel attracted to you, and hence you are also going to play the role of a partner. It can be in terms of any partner. I'm not talking about only the straight couples. It can be about the queer couples also. Now, generally, I don't dress up in that way because I need to take up so many cases. So it's not only focus that is the way I'm going to talk about sensate focus, but generally, sir, in his country, because he's from UK, in his area, he is more focused on wearing some sort of dresses, which is not applicable in India, honestly. In India, we have a limited access to sex therapists. Now there is a pre-notion that clinical psychologists can also perform sexual therapy. Somewhere down the line, it's true. But again, to have knowledge about all the sexual poses, like if I talk about this book by Nancy, it's not possible for us like clinical psychologist to do. Even a counseling psychologist or a rehabilitation psychologist, it's not possible for them to do. Only if you are undergoing a sort of certification courses, then and there the teachers will be talking about this sort of poses. Now, even a clinical psychologist, if I talk about West Bengal or Indian scenario, they are not comfortable. They are comfortable talking about sexual disorder. But mark my words, sensate focus therapy is not about sexual disorder. It's not at all about sexual disorder. It's also not about how you are helping the client to achieve orgasm. But it sensate focus therapy helps the client to reflect back. For example, if I talk about an example, the client got married, and after 2 years or after 1 year, they had conceived. Both the partner conceived. Not both, but yeah, somewhere both. Now, after 2 years, when their baby is 2 years, they need to revive their sexual life, but they are unable to revive it. It can be done due to many conditions or many reasons. Then the time sensate focus therapy comes into play. Now, over here, our main aim as a sex therapist is not to help the client to masturbate or not to help the client to achieve orgasm. It's just the sparkle to bring back that sparkle. It can be in any way, it can be in any form. If I talk about chocolate therapy is a part of sensate focus therapy. What exactly is chocolate therapy? Chocolate therapy is somewhere you are buying a chocolate, not you. Definitely, the client is buying a chocolate. Now, this has to be done in front of a therapist, because agar you all are telling that okay, you can do it as a homework, client won't do. The moment they are into the therapy session for 20 minutes, they have to perform. Then they have that urge that, yeah, after returning from my session, I need to perform all this with my partner. Because within 15 minutes or within 20 minutes, they receive some at least 0.1% also of that sort of energies or that sort of attraction. So, what is chocolate therapy? They dip their hand in, and it's a liquid chocolate, honestly. So, they dip their hand in the chocolate. And for example, there is a sort of term which is called as giver and receiver. Now, for example, I am a giver and my partner is a receiver. So when I'll perform chocolate therapy, my teacher, like my therapist has explained me what is that. So I would be giving that chocolate, I would be taking that liquid chocolate in my hand, either in form of anything. Now I would be applying that chocolate in the face. If I'm talking about non-genitals, in the face of my partner. Then in front of the therapist, I have to lick it down. Definitely, I'm going to explore more on that. But when it comes to genitals, definitely, एक chance में the couples are not at all comfortable in talking about genitals. It's not at all easy. But धीरे धीरे, because this is not a 1 day task or a 10 days task. For non-genitals also, it's like 15 or 16 or 20 sessions. Then genitals. So what happens in genitals? In the genitals, if I'm a giver, I would be, my partner is a male partner. I would be taking out his penis in front of the therapist. Now, as I said, you have to be very comfortable, because if you are not comfortable, if you are like yuck, that sensate focus is of no use. So what generally happens, the client is taking, or the giver, I am giving, my husband is the receiver, I am taking the penis, and I would be applying the chocolate, and then I would be leaking it. Now the instructions has to be very clear in any regional languages, no matter, it has to be very clear. Now you can perform sex therapy, leaving sensate focus therapy, that your only focus is on some sort of positioning, some sort of non-genitals. But if you walk in sensate focus therapy, your charges goes more, because you are observing everything. And it's not at all comfortable. Even I can tell, it's not at all comfortable in being the therapist in this chair, seeing all these things. Because hum log bhi to human being hai, we also have libido. It's not only the client. And believe me, when I started with sensate focus, non-genitals stuck, I was okay. But the very first case which I handled in the year 2020, I was like, अरे मेरे को भी मेरा boyfriend से मिलना है अभी. Because they were performing in that intimate way. Then dhire dhire, when again I had a word with sir, that sir, what to do? Because I was getting goosebumps. And it's not at all easy, honestly. Then sir said me, Shraddhanjali, it's not easy. You need to work on your libido at the time. You have to control your urges. Now again, it's pretty difficult. एक दिन में, और honestly, I also did not become a sex therapist. I had the certification. एक दिन में becoming a sex therapist and also working with sensate focus therapy is not at all easy. धीरे धीरे it takes time. If you are working in sex area, your charges can be different. But if you are doing sensate focus therapy, your charges goes double, because you have to give that space, and also you are not comfortable. So this is what sensate focus therapy is. Clear about the introduction? Okay. Now, now there is a conception that sex is a myth. Sex बोल के कुछ नहीं होता है. So have you all visited any sort of religious places which depicted sex? Any mandir like from Gujarat,
No,
Rajasthan?
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'll share a picture right after the, yes, in Madhya Pradesh. Yeah, there are so many mandirs. This picture, is it clear? Like, is the picture clear over here in the slide?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So क्या होता है ना, when I talk about when what exactly is sex? The moment sex comes up, people thinks about intercourse or the vaginal sex. But sex is not that. Sex can be a connection with your soul, with your partner. Akashic sex, tantric sex. I'm going to talk what is tantric sex, but it's not a sort of black magic, because I remember when I did a course on, like, not me, when I was doing a workshop on tantric sex, other participants said me that, Shraddhanjali, you are practicing black magic, that you are telling tantric sex. So I said, no, no, no. So what exactly is the introduction? Now this has been introduced long back when human evaluation was not at all there. And this sort of sensate focus therapy was there into the practice. But the only thing was, we people did not know about the name. That okay, this is what sensate focus therapy is. Now, what is the main purpose of giving sensate focus therapy to the couples? The major thing is that to achieve some sort, not that level of orgasm, but to bring back, majorly to bring back that sparkle in their life, number one. Over here, people having low desire or low libido. Secondly, people having anxiety or performance anxiety. Alpha map was there, I guess. Okay. So people having low anxiety, or there are so many people who feels that I can't perform sex. For them, sensate focus is of the appropriate use. Over here, over here we are not doing anything with the client, only we are doing it on our own body. And what exactly is the client doing? Either the client is mirroring you, or if your instructions are pretty clear, if the client understands each and every languages or the words whatever you are saying, the client, both the couples would be performing that. Now in India, people, there is only Rashmi ma'am, Neha ma'am, Pallavi ma'am, yeah, three peoples in Kolkata, not Kolkata, sorry, again in India, they use Sensate focus therapy. One is Rashmi ma'am, one is Pallavi ma'am, one is Neha ma'am. These are the three people, and they are quite popular in Instagram also. They use Sensate focus therapy. Apart from that, even I use, but we don't claim that we use, because even therapists have a notion that it's something sort of therapy which is not ideal for counseling psychologist or clinical psychologist or rehabilitation psychologist. This is a banned thing, people think. But in India, people, three therapists, sex therapists, they are not psychologists, they are not psychiatrists, they are sexual educator, menstruation coaches, and they do use this. In abroad, sensitive focus therapy घर घर में होता है, and it's pretty popular in any Western culture you take it. And if you have visited any sort of mandirs, they depict sex, and that is what Akashic sex is. Now, what is Akashic sex? Now, if you heard about Akashic reading, that is not the one which is Akashic sex. In Akashic sex, we ask the client to explore more on that cloud version. Now, that is a sort of visualization also with the client. But sensate focused therapy is more, which is not like that, that we are teaching the client how to achieve orgasm, but we are giving that sort of sparkles. Now, if I talk about the genital touch or not the non-genital touch, it takes time. एक दिन में, again, as a therapist we can't be, and even एक दिन का काम ही नहीं है sex, like sex therapy counseling में कि the we are telling and the client is yes Neha Bhatt, हाँ. If you read her book, Neha, about Unshamed, you can understand. Like when I did a course, it was online, but at the time, why it was online, she was in her own area. Now, when she came up to Kolkata last year, we got a sort of idea what exactly is Sensate focus, because the way she explained it was like marvelous. And there is also one, I forgot her name, but she is not onto Sensate focus, but she is a sex therapist. Seema Anand, I remember. Seema Anand. But she is not conducting any course right now. Luckily, I got a chance, but that too, it was when I did my graduation first year. And I was inclined to more on sex, and I did it because my mother is a clinical, like criminal psychologist, and I knew some sort of therapy is there which is related to sex, and I am on the higher spectrum of libido, and hence I did it from Seema ma'am, and that was also online. But right now Seema ma'am is not doing, but you can listen to all her videos, whatever she comes up with in the like Instagram or Facebook, Instagram. So sex is something, it's not only limited to whatever we are studying. It's more on the verge of you are exploring something with the client. Now, I would share a very short case. Even after doing so many courses on sex therapy as well as education, one fine day, it was a very holistic thing which I was doing with one of my clients, and suddenly she said, Shraddhanjali, do you know what is horse pose? I was like, kya hai ye? She said it's a position of sex which is like more of a horse. I said that means like a table. She said yes, like because we can't be a horse, we can be a table. So I said how it is performed. I said can I get it in net what exactly is horse pose? She said no. I said how did you identify this is what? Then she said me both of them, like her husband and wife, both of like his her wife, sorry, both the partners, they were into this sort of sexual position and they prefer horse pose every single day. What is horse pose? They are going to the basically she is going to lean like a table, and it has to be open, like she has to be naked. And what exactly is happening when she is leaning down without her any sort of dresses, her boobs are coming down. And at the time the husband would be going, like if she is laying down like this For example, I can't show exactly how it is because I need a space. So what exactly is happening? The moment she is like this, her husband goes like this, and then he would be performing sexual activity. More than intercourse, they were achieving all sort of orgasm by this. He used to suck the boobs, then down the vagina. He used to lick, and all sort of positions happens. And they explode more on the horse pose. Then when I asked some Ashmi ma'am and Pallavi ma'am, मेरे को सीखना है, what is horse pose? They were like, I did not even heard. Then I asked the client to record it if the client was comfortable. And yes, she sent me, Shraddhanjali, I can give it, but hiding my face and all. I said, yeah, okay, fine. So then I took the permission of Pallavi ma'am and with the client, and I forwarded it with both the permission, both the parties' permission. And then Pallavi ma'am said me that Shraddhanjali, sex position is not only limited to whatever books are there available. It's much more beyond whatever we know. Okay, I know I'm going on a higher speech. Okay. So clear what is SFT? Like the basic introduction. Okay, please tell me
Yes,
if
ma'am.
you all are like if you all are feeling very uncomfortable, I'll be changing because I need to figure it out. Kya hoga? But what exactly is sensate focus? I am explaining. Okay, now okay, I think now the principles of sensate focus. Now the major principle, number one principle, I did not highlight it, but you all can get it. The first principle is mindfulness of the body. Now it's not only my body I am aware of, but it would be my partner's body also, and my partner would be aware of my body also. I'm going to talk how people are going to get aware of the bodies and all, but this is one of the principle. Next is exchange and reciprocation. Now exchange means a sort of giver and receiver one, which I said. Firstly, I would be a receiver and my partner would be a giver. Then I would be changing my role. I would be a receiver and my partner would be a giver, or vice versa. This is the second principle. And the third is, as I said, the main purpose of the sensate focus therapy is not at all that we are helping the client to achieve any sort of orgasm. It's a non goal directed part or non goal directed therapy. What we are doing, we are making the circumstances, we are making aware of the situation, we are making aware of each and every body part. Sex कहीं पे भी हो सकता है. Now kahi pe matlab it's not that, but if you are taking a medicine and your libido can go up. I know so many medicines name that when you can drop your sex down and when you are can increase your sex up. Even if you are not at all sexual active. But it's not at all the primary aim of SFT. Primary aim is to make aware of the body. If you know about the birthmarks, there are so many clients who did not know, अरे मेरे partner पे इधर पे birthmark है. Now, when I did sensate focus therapy in the non-genital portion and also in the genital way, then they said me that after 12 years, I discovered this. Yeah, my husband or my wife is having a birthmark over here or over there. So this is what this principle in three major spectrum of sensate focus therapy. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I understand it can be a bit uncomfortable, but pardon me. I thought of talking about this because people generally wants to explore about sensate and sex. Okay. So now how sensate focus therapy are done. Now it's not only that you have to follow this, but somewhere it can be that you are following this, like for example, step one and step two are in a combination. And then at last step three. Now what I generally suggest is all the steps should be taken at a once. Like it's not that I as I said that you can do step one and step two, but again we have to make sure that all the three steps are clearly done and at a gap of 21 days, not seconds, 21 days, so that the client के दिमाग में घुस जाता है that we have to do, and it's a sort of homework also. The first step is awareness, as I was talking about. Now, sensory awareness means non-genital part, okay, or where all the five senses are being activated. Now over here, what we do is we ask the client, like for example, if I'm a receiver, my partner would be touching my eyes, would be rubbing in a very slow pace, would be touching my nose, would be rubbing in a very slow pace, would be touching my ears, would be rubbing in a very slow pace, and it takes time. And I, in my very first initial session, when I said this, the client was like, and I was like, ऐसे नहीं, you need to hold at least 5 minutes for all the five senses. Then you can touch your cheeks, then you can hug each other. Now, what should be the situation when they can do in front of you? Number one is that you should have that sort of space because they can roam around also. Number one. Number two, you can turn on a music now, not a sort of chit chat wala music. I prefer romantic music. It's not that I give the like pace to the client that I am playing this music. Definitely I don't give, because क्या होता है ना, whenever they are saying something I don't have in my podcast list, so again I need to download it and it's a huge time consuming, again at least 10 minutes to लगेगा ही. So whatever things I have, I play. The very first hit list which I have is too zaruri, Zid wala film ka too zaruri. Next is head story. These are the majorly two things I play. And in Bengali, there are so many things. But when I get a client who don't understand Bengali, I play like two music. Sorry, three. Prince, Tere Liye, Tu Zaruri, and that song from Hate Story. I forgot. So they are the three major romantic song. And if you all prefer in other languages, like I know Bengali, I have Bengali romantic songs. But if you all are from any Tamil background or any other background, you can play as per your wish list. It's not necessary that you have to take the permission of the client that I'm playing this. Because then client comes up with so many topics. नहीं मैम ये play करो, नहीं मैम वो play करो. It becomes very chaotic in us also. Because as it is, we are in the space of very uncomfortable, but we can't show it in our face. So we have to be that comfortable. Next is mutual exploration. Now, mutual exploration means where you are giving the consent of the party, like party matlab couples, and the couples are also giving the assurance that yeah, I understand it's a very safe space, so I can touch my wife. Pehle the non-genitals. Pehle it's not the genitals, it's the non-genital first, because client, you all can understand, client can get disturbed that why I'm going to touch my like partner's genital in front of you. So pehle it's on a very safe space, non-genitals, then the genitals comes up. And the third is intimate connection. Over here it's nothing a sort of intercourse. Over here intimate connections happens with the hands, with the eyes, with the tongues. I'm showing it. Now, how it is with the hands? Let me unpin it. Am I clearly visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is my hand. I have both my hand. Now, assume it, I have my one hand and this is my partner hand. Now, when I would be going for a connection, I would be doing my hand with my partner like this. I would be gazing at my partner's eyes and I would be taking out my tongue, my sweet little tongue, and I would be rubbing with my partner's tongue and also in front of the therapist. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is what intimate connection is. Now the connection can happen in other way. When I did majorly, if I talk about how Pallavi ma'am does, she explores connection over the neck with the client. Not she doesn't do, but both the partner kisses over here in front of her itself. Because it's a sort of sensate focus, our therapist plays a major role. You as a therapy plays the host. So the client assumes over here in the neck. But when I do it in with my client, honestly, I go with hand, I goes with eye, I goes with lip. And all the processes, the time have to be minimum 15 to 20 minutes. Clear about these stages?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is how can you apply sensate focus therapy? Any idea? How can you directly say that you have to perform in front of me? कुछ भी idea बोलो. It's nothing that good like right or wrong. कुछ भी, whatever comes up in your mind. Okay. So the first step, how you can ask the client or how you start applying sensate focus therapy is by showing small and but very mild reels about sexual things, not about intercourse. I'll share 2 to 3 videos what I generally show. Now it depends. Again, if the client is at a higher libido, then you have to keep a thought process that I'm not going to show this reel. But if the client is like, I want to, but somewhere I have some sort of anxiety that after 5 years or after 6 years, I am about to perform sexual intimacy or some sort of intimacy things with my partner, how my partner is going to feel, whether I would be able to satisfy my partner or not. So that the time we ask not to think about any sort of performances. Performance kuch bhi ho. Now I'll share a worksheet. Basically, in that worksheet, what exactly is done? You ask, now that has to be given to both the clients, both the couples, and at the time you ask the couples that what form of sex do you like. Now, sex matlab intercourse. Hardcore, there are two sort of sex: hardcore sex and light sex. What does light sex means? It's like when intercourse is happening, but not at that force. But what is hardcore sex? When I like my partner inducing any sort of pain. Now, pain means it's not only in terms of intercourse. It can be a sort of erotic preferences or kink preferences that my partner is spanking me. The partner is applying like hot wax on my any like I showed my hand, but in my genitals or even in my boobs. So that is a sort of hardcore sex. Now people, there are so many clients right now, they prefer hardcore sex. Now as a therapist, we have to keep in mind that hardcore sex is also quite normal. Nothing sort of abnormality is there. The only thing is that we have to psycho-educate the client about the pros and cons. Anyone who have attended my King Affirmative class?
Yes, ma'am. I did that.
Okay, Sneha also did. Ma'am, do you all
Yes,
remember
ma'am,
that
I
I
have.
talked about the education, how we have to ensure what sort of the client prefers?
Yes, ma'am, yes. You
Yes, ma'am.
shared the cases also.
Yes, don't worry, I'll share the recording in the group so that you all can go back and you all can take your time and see, check out the recordings. There are so many clients who prefers that, for example, yes, not yesterday, last week. I had a client who prefers putting a very small rod inside the vagina of the partner. Now, rod doesn't mean the one which is readily available. ये सब sex toys है. Now, how does he likes? For example, ये rod के जैसे it would look like. Okay. Now, for example, if this is a rod, and he explained me in a very clear way, and which was pretty clear. Now, what he said, he likes to induce this one, like this rod, inside the vagina. Now, now how? Inside the vagina, if I'm putting it, it would hurt that lady. Now he wants to apply chocolate, but directly he won't apply the chocolate in the vagina. He would be taking and he takes the chocolate, he applies in the rod. The rod is something of this, like very small rod, some sort of scales, he said, I forgot again. So a very small rod, he would be applying chocolate over there like in the rod, and then dheere dheere karke he would be putting that rod in the vagina, and after a few minutes he would be taking out, and then he would be leaking the vagina because the chocolate is there. So again, here this is a sort of kink preference, we can't say. Now when I like, this is not a very first case I saw about Ron. I saw more than plus. Who is coming right now? Hare Baba. I saw so many cases. But chocolate wala factor is a very new concept, because in generally when I saw the cases of rod, it was a case with hot wax, candle wax. It was that case. So again, we need to educate the client. Why you want to do that, how you are going to perform that. There are so many clients who prefer mummification. There are so many clients who prefer the other partner to be electrified, like giving shock of electric. Now, not the one which is readily available in the house. We can get sex toys. Now, when I did my sex, like not only sex kink class, I, out of my curiosity, I purchased all sort of sex toys and which are there in my house till now. So this is something which is very unique. I won't say unique, but as per so many, like you all can feel very uncomfortable, but ऐसा होता है. Now we need to understand why certain sort of preferences are coming. Number one, it can be out of exploration. Number two, because of trauma. If you know how to heal the inner child, you can heal this. If it is linked to trauma, if not to trauma, it's out of exploration. It's nothing that you can heal up. It's a sort of affirmation. As a king affirmative therapist, we do not tell the client that please don't put the rod. Why you are going to put the rod? Please don't put it. Client नहीं आएगा आपके पास. There are so many clients who prefer golden shower. Any idea what is golden shower?
Yes, ma'am. In the last class, you explained that key partner bring the yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes. For example, there are so many partner who likes to drink the pee of the other partner. For example, I'm my partner is John Abraham. I would be if I prefer golden shower, I would be preferring to drink the pee of my John Abraham. And also, it's not only the urine or the golden shower; it is also the potty. Oh, again, I'm getting too hard. I understand. Okay. Clear about when to apply sunset focus therapy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are the benefits of sunset focus therapy? Number one is very clear, to improve the intimacy with the partner. Now, it's not only one partner. You are improving both the partners' intimacy. Now, how? For example, I am on a very higher spectrum of libido. It can be my partner is on a lower spectrum of libido. So, what exactly would be? When I'm doing sunset focus, it can be like Shraddhanjali is only increasing her libido. No. Shraddhanjali, when I'm performing it with my husband or with my partner, I'm also increasing his libido. And it's time consuming. Sunset focus therapy is not like that CBT ke jaise. If you are applying sunset focus therapy, mark my word, client would come. Even after 1 month also, client would come and talk, tell that, ma'am, I need to perform something more. Please help me. And everything is not limited to books and PDFs. आपके दिमाग से कुछ सेक्स के बारे में निकालना होगा. How to perform, when to perform, what exactly dresses you need to wear, what exactly aroma you need to do. Like there is a function of aroma also. If you are applying a very strong sort of aroma perfume, it won't work. For example, I don't like very strong smell. My partner likes. To satisfy my partner, I am doing that. But if we are not liking that sort of smell, but I have seen couples are doing aromatherapy, they have a notion that aroma means a very strong smell. No, we can make aroma also. It's not only that perfume, you can create scented candles, you can create any environment. It's not that you have to have, and also the surrounding, you need to be aware of your surrounding, not in the therapeutic setup, but you need to tell the client whenever you all are performing, please make sure about the surrounding. Surrounding matlab the atmosphere where the clients are performing. The couples, it would be better to tell couples because of the light, because of the room smell, because of the sound, whatsoever. And also bed, if they are performing that in bed, if they are not performing in bed, they are performing in the like floor, what sort of texture the floor is having, whether they are liking it, not. If they are using in terms of where it is enhanced sexual, not this one. It's not in this slide. Next slide. If they prefer hot shower, for not golden shower, abhi I'm talking about hot shower. So if they're preferring rose petal. For example, I prefer petal, my partner prefers some other petals. So we have to come into our terms and condition that for 1 week I would be going with rose petal, you have to adjust. For the other way, 1 week I would be going with your petals, I would be adjusting. Definitely that is a part of CBT. But it is not only like that, that I am preferring rose petal. That means I have to tell my partner that you have to use rose petal. कभी नहीं. Sunset focus का कोई meaning ही नहीं होगा फिर. Next is reduce stress and anxiety. Over here, we have to talk about or we have to address about performance anxiety. Now, as I said, we are not increasing any sort of orgasm because the moment we think about, I have to give my 100% with my partner in the bed, at the time I am highly stressed out. What if I'm not being able to satisfy my partner? So it's not about satisfaction. We have to clearly assume or we have to clearly communicate with the couple that it's not about satisfaction. It's about increasing your sparks in your life. How? It depends on you all. Whatever I'm teaching over here, whatever I am doing it with you all in my session, if you all are not doing that exact thing, it's of no use. Again, a little portion of CBT and psychoeducation. Because clients are like, why I'm going to do it? I did it in front of my therapist. Abhi or ek baar. I can't. Even if the clients are pretty drained out, what kind of treatment should we give to a person who is too much addicted to masturbation and sexual activities? Okay, for sexual activities, now, for example, what sort of sexual activities you are talking about? Number one. Okay, and masturbation. See, masturbation is not a good, like, I won't say it's a bad thing. Masturbating regularly is a sort of healthy lifestyle, but we need to keep in mind about the duration. For example, I had so many client masturbation issue. They used to masturbate in morning, they used to masturbate in evening, they used to masturbate in afternoon again before going to bed. And during that time they were sleeping like from 12 or 10, whatever the time span would be. They used to get up from the bed again, they used to masturbate and come back to bed. So that is a high sort of addiction. There the intervention of psychiatrist is needed. But regular masturbation is good. If you talk about with any of the sexologists, with any gynecologist, masturbation is a very healthy habit. Even watching porn is also a very healthy habit. People have a notion that watching porn is a sort of you wala feeling. No. Just the fact we need to understand that whatever things are being shown in the pornography wala video, it's not real. They are inducing hormones, they are inducing medicines. If a person whenever free just no, that is not must, like that is not a healthy habit. Definitely we need to give a reality check to them, and also we need to talk about why you are doing so. For example, what is the main reason of masturbation? That abhi I am in my class, abhi I'm talking, I literally feel that I need to masturbate. ऐसा तो नहीं होगा. Something I'm seeing, or I have something in my head which is getting a triggering factor in me. For example, before coming to the class, I had seen a very intimate scene which made me feel hard, and right now I need to masturbate. So, what is that? What is making me feel masturbate, or what is making me do that sort of masturbation? Is it for, what is the again the time limit? Whether I'm doing it for 5 minutes, whether I'm doing it for 10 minutes. Because the client which I'm talking about, he is in IT. He was in IT because he's right now, I won't say pretty curable, but yeah, with the help of therapy, with the help of psychiatric medicines, he is on a right track. But he used to masturbate for 15 minutes. Morning may before going to office, in the office 2 to 3 times, after coming back again 2 to 3 times, more than 10 times in a day. And then what happens the moment they are masturbating, if you see the penis of them, like generally, if you walk with a sexologist or an urologist, you can see. I got so many things. So, what exactly happens is you can see the upper layer of the penis, it's getting overlapped with the skin. Like the skin is over that because they are masturbating like this and they are holding in a very harder way. Now there are clients who says that, ma'am, I need to masturbate. How? What is the appropriate way of masturbating? In fact, as a therapist, if you work on that also, we need to teach the client. because I have a like silicone as well, penis as well as a vagina. So I need to teach my client how you are going to hold, what is the holding position, whether you are going to hold like this in a very tight manner, whether it would be a very lenient manner, or whether it would be a medium one. Again, it depends on the age. So we need to have a clear idea. And there is a checklist of masturbation. If you give it to the client, you can understand what sort of duration he is using. If it is a very high duration, like for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, definitely psychiatric intervention are necessary, because at the time oxytocin rush are on that place. I have the hard copy. Definitely, I'll click a picture and I'll share. Neha ma'am, could you please write it down because I have issues in forgetting. So if you write it down in the group about the masturbation checklist, I would be sharing. Don't worry. Okay. Next is enhanced sexual functioning. Now over here, what sort of functioning? It's like regular day. On a regular basis, they need to perform sexual activity. Now, it doesn't again means that intercourse has to be done. Any milder version. For example, I'm getting ready. Again, it's a sort of example what you all can do with the client. I'm getting ready, and today I want my partner to appreciate me. It's not that suddenly you are looking too good, or today you are looking too sexy. What my partner can do, or what you can tell your partner, that come back, like come from my back, hold it, so that if it is visible, okay, hmm. hold it in this way so that my boobs are having the touch of his hand, and then you are kissing in my forehead or kissing in my neck, and you are telling today you are looking good. That is what enhanced sexual functioning means. It's not about intercourse. Clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Next is improved communication. Yes, this improved communication, I'm going to talk about how it can help, and understanding, because in the next slide it's given. Okay, I'll explain it. So I'll keep this portion when I would be doing in the last wala side. You can understand how it can improve. It's not that I feel that I need to come, I need to have intercourse right now, and I'm telling, come back from your meeting or come back from your front, like you are sitting in front of your mother, I need to perform sexual activity. It's not like that. Because I had a client and it was the IT client, and she said me that, ma'am, it's not ma'am, like Sradhanjali, last night I was pretty high and I called my husband. He was in the terrace. I said, come directly to my room. We need to perform. And I was like, okay. So it's not about that. It's about small things, about how you are touching, whether the presses. Now I'm going to talk what exactly is pressing and all. Now, when you are doing sensate focus therapy, now I wrote in terms of this page, like this particular slide, I wrote in terms of the client itself, but there can be challenges as a therapist. Now, firstly, I would talk about therapist. Now, sorry, the first challenges which you can face is the client won't be, firstly, they won't be very reluctant to talk about sex. Even if they are talking about sex, genital portion, non-genital portion, they are not going to do. You can't do sensate focus therapy with them. Even if you are as a therapist, after doing courses, if you all feel that, yeah, they need to do it. Otherwise, they won't be improving their lifestyle, or they won't be improving your sexual life. Client won't be doing it because it's pretty difficult. Then, second, as a sex therapist or a sex educator, we literally feel uncomfortable. The moment I was talking about, right now I don't feel uncomfortable, but initially it happens that we as a therapist also we feel uncomfortable. That I need to talk about penis, I need to talk about vagina, or I need to have that like silicone things in my room, and I would be showing what exactly is the right, correct way of masturbation, both in terms of males and females. So it's pretty difficult because I need to touch that. And the moment if you all are having a sort of silicone penis with you all, the moment you all touch up, or even the silicone boobs, the moment you are touching, if you are high on sex, you would likely to get a goosebumps. That oh bapre, I'm not having a partner right now, and abhi mere ko sex ho gaya. A sort of this feeling would come. Again, I'm talking about in terms of libido of the therapist. Then to show with your own body, it's again pretty difficult. And it's not only little difficult, it's a huge difficult task. I have one question of my friend shared with me. Could you, ma'am, give an example? What sort of like example? What did your friend likely mention? I can understand the question, but if you can give an example, it would be better for me to understand.
Ma'am, I don't exactly remember the conversation, but it's about like the person whenever they are talking about anything. So he used to connect everything that sexual related to sexual activities or whatever they are talking in a funny way. If they are having some type of jokes, they are so everything he is talking about, he connects that thing with the sex or sexual activities, or every time he's ready to have that thing.
Okay, if I'm not wrong, if I sum it up, you wanted to say that whenever your friend is communicating with his partner always connect each and everything with sexual activity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm not wrong, for example, if we are having a long conversation regarding any sort of thing, so what does he generally says? Like it can be a some sort of sexual preferences, because there are so many people who likes to use humor in terms of sexual thing, and they are pretty high on sex.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That he was trying to use humor in that particular topic.
Yes, there are so many people, like there are so many kink preferences who are literally high on sex, but they can't tell anyone. Again, because of the society, the stigma that, are you are high on sex, that means I'm not going to talk to you. For that, the reason they tend to use humor and pretend that I'm not high, but I am using it. But it's a sort of kink preference. Again, you need to explore, like if it is a thing, you need to explore what sort of things he is using, what sort of languages he is using, what is his body gesture. The moment he is talking about sex, is he gulping anything, like हम लोग होता है ना ऐसे करते हैं, so is he doing that? So that is a thing of sexual, not sexual, but a sort of kink preference.
Okay, ma'am. I don't know about it in detail, but okay,
You
I
can
got
ask
it.
your like friend if she is comfortable in sharing it with you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, when I was okay. And as a therapist, also, it's not pretty comfortable that you are touching your own, like your own body. If I talk about boobs, if I talk about vagina, if I talk about butts, it's not comfortable at times. But again, when you are doing it, if you have to overcome all these things, at least from your head also, that no, I would be comfortable. Now, Sensate focus is not only for straight couples, it can be for queer couples also, trans men and trans women, hijra communities, any sort of lesbian couples, any sort of gay couples, pansexual couples. It can be anything. It's not only limited to straight couples. And as a client, you would be definitely facing all these issues. First, the communication. They won't prefer in talking about sex. The moment I remember when I purchased this book, it was 2 months back. My mom and dad, they were like, "You are going to read sex book?" I said, "Yes." Even they feel that sex is necessary. Even my mom would lovely to have the conversation that yeah, sex is necessary, blah blah blah. In front of my dad, she is a completely different person. For them, sex is still a taboo, and that's the reason communication don't take part. I had a student who was in class 9 or 10. She said me, every single day I had a fight with my mother. I said, why? Her mother was too cute. She said me, Sradhanjali, I say, I am her best friend. I said, okay. And she, in front of mother, she said me, now did he tell me, if my mother is a best friend, I had asked my mother, how was I born? Either 9 or 10, I forgot. And she, that the day she talked about reproductive system, how a human being is born, and she knew about intercourse. And the answer what her mother gave was, one fine day I had a pretty bad fight with your father, like physical, not a physical fight, but an emotional fight. And I was about to leave the house, but suddenly an angel came and she gifted me to you, and you are lovely. And I was not smiling definitely, but I felt to smile. So this is the thing, because people don't talk about sex readily. It can be about anything. It's not only limited to intercourse, it can be the urges also, how I'm feeling today. Whether I want to whether I want to perform sexual activity when I'm on my periods, whether I do not want to perform, how do I want to perform my oral sex, what is the exact way. So people, we do not communicate, and that's the major challenges as a therapist you are going to face. Next is vulnerability. Now vulnerability means the thought, the moment you are thinking, oh, this client is on a higher spectrum of sex. What if I am touching my boobs? I am right now going on a verge of comfortableness. What if I'm touching my boobs and the client comes back? No, ma'am, I'm going to touch. And it happens. Mark my word, it happens. Because when I walked with two gynecologists initially, I was showing how sex is performed in non-genital way, and the gynecologist was there. And that was a male gynecologist. The gynecologist did not had any issue. The husband had issue with some sort of penis problem. And the moment I touched my boobs, and he was like, ma'am, can I touch? And I was like, what the fuck? And I said it in front of the gynecologist. So again, vulnerability can come up from your side also, as well as the client side also. For example, if you are seeing both the like couples having some sort of intimate thing, and you can be an opposite sex or anything, you feel like touching the hand, or you feel like touching the necks. So it can be anything. Now, next is patience. Yeah, it's definitely required from that side of the client that ma'am, kuch nahi hua. I am not getting any result. I need a result right now. So it's not at all possible for us to give an instant result. And a shakalaka boom boom wala pencil we don't have, that you are getting us some sort of result right now. We need to give time duration, that at least all single touch, like if you are touching your hand, 21 days, or it can be for 1 month also. If you are touching your cheeks with your partner, it can be 1 month or 21 days. I do it for 21 days, but there are therapists who does it for one long month. So it's a time consuming process. And trust, it's pretty important, because when the client, you are comfortable as a therapist or as an educator, but when both the parties or both the couples are touching their genitals in front of you, they need to develop a trust on you. And if you are good, definitely they would develop. But if you are clicking picture, and after that your hospital room is having some sort of cameras or so, definitely they won't be developing any sort of trust. And it's both the trust, it's not only the client trust on you, it's your trust on the client also, that yeah, today I'm touching my breast, or today I'm touching my lips in that manner, I am doing my eyes. So you are communicating, are she does sunset focus therapy, ja uske paas. No, there has to be a boundary too. And honestly, when I started my practice, because at the time I was very young, I performed sunset focus therapy with both the couples. Now, both matlab two couples were there. It was not a group session, but individual session. I received phone call at 2 in the night. Shraddhanjali, can I see you naked? And yes, believe me, it comes up. So we have to develop a boundary. That sunset focus therapy are not meant for online things. And please don't go for any online therapy session, at least for SFT. Sex therapy, you can do it online. But when you are doing sunset focus therapy, please don't go it for online versions. Because आपको नहीं पता होगा whether the client is using any sort of recording or not, and they are recording it. But you are doing it because you want to help the client genuinely. But you are doing it. So it's pretty, at least if you talk with, if you have a word with Sima ma'am, or with, especially not Sima ma'am, with Pallavi ma'am, she would definitely tell you that sunset focus therapy, no, not an online process, because they have gone through this. I did not go through online process, but in offline only I faced 2 or 3 issues. But again, at the time you have to develop a clear boundary, that I am trusting you, and so sorry, you are trusting me, so can I. So, and this is very clear cut. It's nothing hide and seek wala playing thing. Clear about what exactly are the challenges as a therapist, from the side of therapist and from the side of client.
Yes, clear,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Anyone want to say something? Okay. Now, how you can initiate sunset focus therapy in the daily life of the client. Now, not as a therapist, sorry, not as an educator, but as a therapist, you are playing that role. You have to ask the client to go for self care. Now, self care, matlab, it's not that after giving birth to one child, I am right now a mother. Definitely, I am a mother, but it's not always the fact. I am nowhere a wife or nowhere a father. You can go with some sort of creative technique. Now creative technique generally is, if you know, anyone knows Gottman therapy, relationship and family therapy wala Gottman. Okay, so what exactly Gottman says, when you want to appreciate a partner, and if you know about the five love languages, you don't know how to appreciate, but you are comfortable writing notes to your partner, but you don't know what can be the creative modality. So what I generally suggest is, if you have some sort of coloring sticky notes, it can be any size, no matter, you can write down what are the things you want to tell. Now, not a big letter, time period, like partner won't have that sort of time. For example, I won't say what was the case, but a sort of Gottman, and I used this, a creative modality. Husband went to take a bath, and that the day the husband, a wife was feeling very romantic and blah blah thing, and that was after 8 years of marriage, and they had a baby of 5 years old. So what I suggested the wife, the moment he is going for taking a shower, she took out these sticky notes, and I said her to write some sort of 1 or 2 letter word. Today you are looking good. I want to kiss you. I want to hug you. Today you are looking dot 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 dot. Any other thing, whatever you feel you want to communicate, and stick it in the mirror, because he would come out of the washroom and he would directly be in front of the mirror, because she knew that, yeah, it would be going. If it in other word, it can be in the bathroom before taking a shower. So the moment he came out, he was in the washroom and he came out, he was standing in the mirror, he read that lines. It was only one line, one word, one line with a lips drawn, the one which I gave in the PPT with a lips drawn. And believe me, the wife was missing the husband. That suddenly, every Sunday also he's going to the office, because both of them were in corporate, but the wife left her job. Now she said that after doing this sort of thing, she directly applied for a leave for 2 days, and he was in the house. And both had a very good intimate time, because the daughter or the son was 5 years old, and both of them had a very good intimate time. It's not only about sex, it's not only about intercourse. They went for candlelight dinner, they went for balloon racing. Now, what is balloon racing? They had a dress, and it was a quite big dress, and they had a very thin wala figure. So both of them was draped up in one sari, like it was a so-called sari, but it was in the shape of balloon, and they slept in that moment. So you have to teach the client some sort of, like, to the couples or one of the couple, about some sort of creative technique. It can be a candlelight dinner accompanied by a small, I won't say intercourse, but a small sort of feather touch. So anything, whatever you are comfortable with in talking with the client. Now it can be you are explaining the wife, or it can be you are explaining the husband, or it can be you are explaining both of them. If explaining both of them, still you are comfortable. If explaining like wife, you are comfortable if you are female. But what if you are explaining a wife, husband? You are not comfortable. At that time, you need to modify it. If you are not comfortable in using raw words in terms of sex, you can modify it. Clear about how to incorporate it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. Now is actually how it happens. Now basically is integrated mindfulness. Now integrated mindfulness is accompanied by genital touch or non-genital touch. Now, how many slides? 1 minute. This one I explained. Uh, Many are there. At least 4, 5 are there, I believe, Neha ma'am. Okay. Next is integrated mindfulness. Now, what exactly is integrated mindfulness? Whenever touch are happening, I'll explain how. The client have to be in the mindful situation now, not in the past, not in the future, in the present moment. It can be anywhere. Next is shared intimate moment. Now, shared intimate moment means when no one is there, but only the couple would be there. If you are doing this in front of, if you are making the client do this in front of you, make sure your assistants are also not there, or anyone who is there with you also accompanying this your way of doing therapy. No one is there, because at the time the client feels little awkward, and it can be accompanied by any sort of gifts. Now, when you are doing shared intimate moment, please make sure to ask about the love languages. What do you prefer? How your wife prefer to have some sort of love languages. And at that time, you can give the love language worksheet, and both of them would be ticking. Now, again, this happens in a very time consuming manner. You have to, even you as a therapist, have to play a very soft music. I gave a bouquet of roses because I prefer. Now the techniques. Directly I'm going to the techniques. Okay. Now, when I talk about the genitals, first is explore the body. Now, it's a sort of body scanning. For example, if I'm a receiver and this is my partner, anyone. So it can be in front of the therapist. It happens from the head, take care, or the forehead, or the head, anywhere, whatever the client is comfortable. But generally, there are so many clients who directly want to touch the skin, not the head, but the skin. So it is the forehead. So धीरे धीरे you have to ask the client to explore the body, to explore the figure. Now, figure doesn't mean that the body curves, but what exactly is the figure over here? Whether the client is having any sort of bruno, what exactly is the texture, whether the skin is too dry or too oily, anything but with the palm. It happens like this. Now, when the client is going down, make sure that you are there accompanying and you are also doing. Now, this happens generally for 1 or 2 sessions. The client, both the couples mirror you. Now, what you are doing, you don't have any partner. So, you are making the client feel the visualization portion comes here, that some partner is there and you are doing it one with one hand, like this, as if your partner is doing. And that the time, I don't wear specs honestly, because David sir said me not to wear specs. I wear lens. But those who wear specs also, you can do it. But your eye movement should be there. That the moment you have to go in that spectrum, when if your partner is touching you, for example, if it is touching you, how you are feeling, and you have to show it with your eyes. Next is, okay, clear this portion, that how the body exploration should happen with the palm.
It's clear, ma'am.
Okay. Next is varied touch. Now, what exactly is varied touch? You have to help the client. For example, if you feel like, if it is in the elbow and the client is doing like this, so no, over here in the elbow, it's with two finger, any two finger. Generally, it happens with this two finger, because these two fingers say it's pretty irritating one. So with this two finger, you have to help the client explore this. That touch your wife or touch your partner with this, and you have to help the client. Now you have to tell the client to have that sort of openness, that you are seeing your partner's eye also, whether she's liking or whether he, or any of the partner, if it is a queer partner, whether they are liking or not. A sort of openness, that no, it's only for the sake that the therapist said and you are doing it like this. No, you have to help the client to understand that why I am doing so. Now, there are so many strokes over here. Now, generally, what happens if it is over here with two fingers, the client dabs over here, both in both the times. Like time, there are time limits. I'll share the time duration. What is the tapping strokes? So over here, the client have to touch it. Firstly, like this, then they have to dab it. In the collarbone, they have to touch it with two fingers. They have to first touch it, then they have to dab it. And with palms, they have to rub it. This is other zones, like technical zones and stroke in sensate focus non-genital portions. And there are so many strokes. If I talk about thigh, there are thigh strokes also. If I talk about belly, there are belly strokes also. Now, belly, if someone is having a good big belly like me, then definitely this sort of things happens. Like the client would be doing, like the giver, receiver would be doing the giver like this. So that now definitely not in a very harder way, but in a very soft way, so that the client feels attracted or the client gets some sort of goosebumps. Next is open communication. Now, as I was talking, what exactly is open communication? Is not like now I'm liking too good, I'm feeling too good. No. It can be that today the way you are touching right now, I'm not feeling good. I need the improvisation over here. Or the way you are touching my back, my shoulder, my boobs, I'm feeling good. Whatever you are feeling, whether bad or good, you have to be open for that. And also, as a therapist, you need to listen that, yeah, for example, if the client is doing that, whatever I showed right now with my belly, the client is doing, and the receiver is not liking that. No, no, I'm not liking that. So the client, the one who is not liking that, that one would be saying you, ma'am, I'm not liking that. So you know, Arya, it's a good thing. I like if my partner does. No, whatever your partner does, it's not necessary that my partner or I would be liking. So you have to explore, you have to open that area that okay, if you are not liking, what is the other thing you would like? There are so many couples who says if my husband or if my partner kisses my navel, I like it. So that the time you have to give that space to the couples that if you want right now, yes. And I have seen. Then I have a bed in my hospital. I ask the wife to lay down or or the partner to lay down, and then the kissing happens. And there are clients who says, ma'am, you can stay. Okay, fine. If the couple feel no, ma'am, you can't stay. It's fine. Now for me, both the thing happened. There were clients who say, Shraddhanjali, could you leave us because we want to get intimate? It was okay. And there are times where couples says, Shraddhanjali, could you be here? It's still okay. If you are not there, so it's good. But if you are there also, you tend to get irritated or you are in that situation of getting awkward. At the time, we have to be very calm and composed that no, we are not going to get awkward. This is the non genital touch. Now, what exactly is the genital touch? Now, in the genital touch, you have to ask the client to gradually explore each and every body part of the genitals. I had a client long back, even after 15 years of marriage, the wife didn't knew that the husband is having a birthmark in the penis. Suddenly, when I was doing the genital focus wala portion, it was almost 29 session. I started at 29 or 25 wala session when I started with genital. She said, "Arey, Shraddhanjali, today I noticed." And it was not in the like in the session she said me. The moment I came back and I was dressed up in my night suit and everything, she texted me. Suddenly, luckily, today in the session, I realized or I saw for the very first time my husband is having a birthmark in the penis. So, exploration of each and every genital things happens. The moment if you are sucking the boobs, what is the exact erection is happening in the boobs or not? There are so many female who tends to erect the nipples. So again, the husband or the partner should notice that, and you have to ask the partner to get exploring more how you are feeling. If I'm touching it with my palm, if I'm touching with my palm, how you are feeling. If I'm touching it with my like fingers, how you are feeling. If I touching it with my lips, how you are feeling. If I touching it with my tongue, how you are feeling. So each and body part they have to explore, especially the genital portion. And next is the curiosity, as I said, and openness definitely. If I'm not curious about my partner's body, then baad mein jaye, kya hoga? Oh, I am getting satisfaction, okay. But I need to realize what are the things my partner is having. Whether he is having any sort of marks, whether he is having any sort of scar, any sort of accident mark. Generally, we don't notice. Even during the sexual activity, also we do not notice. And then again, communication, whether if I'm touching it with my palm, are you liking it? And then strokes. For example, if this is the penis, if I'm touching it in this way, or if I'm holding your penis in my any of the hand and I'm rubbing it against the other palm, are you liking it or are you not liking it? Or if I'm not touching your penis, you have any erectile issues right now, you got erected, and I am rubbing the upper portion on my palm. Are you liking it? With my lips, are you liking it? With my tongue, are you liking it? If you are not liking, again, you have to explore what you are not liking. This is what genital touch is. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Neha, ma'am.
I did it by mistake.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Next is there are so many couples who tend to get irritated easily. For them, that if they are not liking, अरे तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. This wala thought. Then for this sort of couple, we do breathing exercises, the mindfulness based techniques. Now, PMR is a very renowned technique. In PMR, we start from lower body portion to the upper body by laying the client down. So I'll share a video of PMR, don't worry. And yes, we do it with the navels. Like, for example, this breathing technique happens. Like, for example, my partner would be touching my navel and I would be touching my partner navel, and then we are going to breathe so that we can understand, both of us can understand how exactly our breathing patterns are going on. Breathing is not like that I am breathing, but when you're including in sensate focus therapy, it's like I am either touching my partner's navel or I am touching my partner's chest, and my partner is also doing vice versa, and then we are breathing in or breathing out. Same case happens for mindfulness also. Clear about breathing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ah, next is this sensory awareness. Now, the moment you want to explore more about sensory awareness with the client, you have to make sure that all the senses are being included. The very first is sight. Now, over here, as I said, sight means you have to see the body of the partner. A sort of scanning wala machine you have to have in your eyes. For example, I am naked and my partner is naked. Both of them would be going for the exploration of more in terms of now without touching. It's just as gazing into each other's organ. Now it's not like lungs and kidney, but it whatever is visible. Next is touch. Now touch happens in two different format. I am touching in a very hardcore way or I'm touching in a very lower way. Now, for example, the movie, did you all see the animal one?
Yes, ma'am. I've
Yes,
seen.
Okay, so I'll tell you with that example when Ranbir Kapoor goes to meet Tripti and they have a very soothing intercourse, and after that when Ranbir Kapoor he was being lied on the stomach as well as starting from the lower abdomen to the legs, and when he was lying, did you all notice that position? Okay, I'll share that Ghana wala link or I'll screenshot that. Don't find. So that is what how awareness are being done. Touch awareness. It's basically that you are not only touching like this, it can be you are touching with your ears. The one which Ranbir Kapoor did with Tripti Diwani, like the very intimate scene. Next is smell. Now over here, two sort of smells happen. Number one is one of the entire room, and second is of the partner's body. Now there is a very good question whenever I walk, that whether vagina smell is good or bad. Now, each and everyone's vaginal smell is different. We all are different, whether vagina, whether penis, each and every smell is good or each and every smell is bad. So, the thing is that we are not going to wash. Now, over here, we tend to do psychoeducation in terms of washing the vagina or the penis. That I have seen one of my clients said, Shraddhanjali, today before my husband was having oral sex, I had to wash my vagina with Dettol. I was like, what? So that the thought, I thought, oh, vagina smell and Dettol. That means okay, not gelling with each other, but she did it. So over here, smell is pretty natural. It's nothing you have to ask the client to apply, or like perfume or any scented things in the like genitals. Never. Smell is very natural. But yes, definitely any sort of foul smell, have a consultation with a gynecologist, but a normal regular smell is okay. And there are so many partners who prefer taking that raw smell. So that the time you have to ask the other partner that whether you are comfortable or not. If they are comfortable, okay, chalo jao, you can perform. If they are not comfortable, you have to do 1:1 session why you are not comfortable. What if your partner smells your vagina or smells your penis at least once in a week? How would you feel? धीरे धीरे you have to make that client feel comfortable. And next is sound. Now sound is over here in two terms of the emotional sound. For example, I don't like hardcore sex, but my partner likes, and hence I am a people pleaser. I can't say anyone big no, and so I am going for hardcore sex, even if I'm having body aches. So that the time we have to ask the partner to listen to the emotional sounds, number one. And second is the sound of heartbeat, both in terms of partner. For example, lying down. For example, today I am over here and I'm lying down on the chest of my partner and I'm listening to that. This is what sensory awareness means. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is communication skill. Number one is active listening. Yes, both the client have to be very active so that even if there is a non-verbal communication, we can understand. For example, my partner don't have to say me that Shraddhanjali today I'm very high. Somewhere down the line, at least for my own case, I understand if his text goes right out. I understand that yeah, he needs a rest. So active listening doesn't mean only for having intercourse or only for having some sort of intimacy. It means throughout the life, even if I'm not communicating anything, my partner can understand. And it's a part of Gottman therapy also. So understanding or listening to your partner, it's important. Next is constructive feedback. Today, if my partner says, Shraddhanjali, I don't want to perform sexual intercourse with me, sorry, with you because you are looking down, or today you are looking very shabby. It's okay. It's not necessary that every single day, that is 365 days, I have to look very beautiful. Because whenever I apply my hair oil, my partner is like, suddenly, please don't call me or do video call because I don't like to see the chipa one. I said, okay, fine, I'm not going to do. So constructive feedback in a relationship is pretty important, and at the time we have to ask the client, what if your partner satisfies you, but you're deep down the heart, your partner is not willing to, how would you feel? And this is also having one set of question here. Next is emotional vulnerabilities about the boundaries. For example, there are so many clients who do not prefer having intercourse during menstruation. And if my partner prefers having like intercourse, we need to create that boundary. No, for 2 days or for one day, for this particular day, I'm not feeling, or abhi, I'm not feeling to do it. To talking about sex, it's very important rather than to keep it inside the carpet and like, I don't want to talk. It's not only in terms of therapy, but in terms of general life also, we need to communicate about sex. We need to have a clear identification that this is my body, this is my partner body, and after that we are going to gel with each other. Clear about communication skill. I'm getting allergies right now. Okay. Clear communication skill. Okay.
Yes.
Next is fantasy exploration. Now fantasy exploration means where we ask the client to explore a sort of fantasies. Now how? A sort of visualization. Now, Abhi, there are reels and it's very easy, honestly. But back during when Sunset Focus was on the verge, it was not that. So, what exactly is exploitation of fantasy is that showing some sort of intimate videos and then asking the client how you are feeling. If your partner does this with you, how would you feel? Now it can be in any religion languages. Hindi, English, Bengali, Urdu, Tamil, any sort of languages. Now definitely they are going to share. For example, today I'm showing this video to wife and to husband. And then I would definitely take the understanding how the wife is feeling and how the husband is feeling, or both the partners are feeling. Then I would ask them to incorporate that feeling within them. For example, I'm feeling very high. I want to dance with him. Definitely, dancing can't happen in the therapeutic setup, but in a milder version, dance can also happen. Getting up from the chair, holding the stomach, the position which is given over here. But definitely, we can't roam, we can't ask the client because the OPD session is not like living room, understandable. And then about talking about the boundaries. Now, boundary talking is pretty important. Talking on clearing about clear cut talks about boundary, it's pretty important. Without that, nothing can happen. Now, boundary doesn't mean that, yeah, I have taken the boundaries or I have taken a consent form from the client, chalo, le lete. But also taking your opinion also, whether you are comfortable or not. And you are not going to say this to anyone. You have to make up a mind that, yeah, I have to do it. If you are not okay, not okay. No one has forced that, yeah, if you are a sex therapist, you have to perform sensate focus. You can refer to someone who performs sensate focus therapy in this session. But if you are not okay and if you are taking, it would affect your mental peace as a therapist. Because afterward coming back, like coming back from session, you would feel a sort of guilty. I touched my boob in front of the client. And I won't name that person. She's quite famous right now in Instagram. She once shared her story, not in Instagram, definitely, but that after she became a like sex therapist, she started doing sensate focus at a very early age. And after first or second session, she started developing a feeling of guilty because she used to touch her own boobs and own nipples. And then dhire dhire she entered into the phase of depression. For long 3 years, she was on to medicines, even as a therapist. I won't mind telling, yes, I was also in medicines. At least not for 3 years, definitely, but for 6 long months. Because I developed a fear of insecurity. I developed a fear of shameness and also guilt that I am touching. So, if as a therapist you are not comfortable, no need of doing sensate focus. It's completely up to you as a therapist. No one can force you that no, you have to do because you are a sex therapist. No one can force you. But if you are doing it, you have to do it from your own sake. It can be on different sector that you are doing it for some couple, you are not doing it for some couple. It's pretty okay. I perform it with the straight couples, but not with lesbian couples because I tend to get irritated because lesbian couples are there. Otherwise, I am comfortable after 5 years. Yes, 5.5 years, almost 6 years. So it depends on you. Next is gradual, how you are going to note the gradual progression, that whether you have to start with very simple ideas, with activities. Now, activities over here are the worksheets, definitely. There is trust. Now, definitely, you have to ask the client whether you are trusting this process or not. It's a sort of trusting with the therapeutic relationship also. Now, if the client says, yes, I am trusting it, you would move forward. But if the client is saying, no, I'm not trusting it even after 10 session or even after 120 session also, you are going to then and there stop. And yes, if there is a little changes also, you along with your client have to celebrate that progress. It can be that you are gifting, it's not that a huge gift, you are giving a written note or you are not taking up any gift. Please make sure that we do not take offer like client would offer, definitely client offers, but we do not take any sort of gifts from the client. What as a gift, what we give is, I give handwritten notes that thank you for making progress or thank you for trusting this progress. And the note can be customized as per your age, like not your age, but as per as the client's age. Clear about gradual progression?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, last Neha, I have completed. Okay. Okay. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
How many
No,
of
ma'am.
you all felt awkward during the session?
A bit.
A bit.
We
Yes.
all.
A little bit.
And
Little bit, ma'am.
mm, I understand. And it's an honest confession because till now also we feel uncomfortable. It's not like that we are pretty comfortable. Till now also we feel uncomfortable, but only the thing is that we are not bringing up in our face because client can understand that. Abhi Swiggy is giving me invitation for FOMO. Huh? I'm not doing it. Okay. So, can I have, okay, by Sunday, you all are going to receive the certificates. Don't worry. So, today was the last session. So, can I have everyone right now on cameras? Sneha, come up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ah. Aditi? Okay, Ravinder Singh, Ravinder sir and Rashi, can you all come up? Otherwise, it's okay, not an issue. Okay, okay, she is coming. So, where is Akanksha? Akanksha. Because Akanksha would be doing the needful because my computer would be not supporting. Akanksha, can you click a picture? Okay. So, can I request everyone to smile? I know it was a very heavy session, but yes. Akanksha, जब होगा बोलना हाँ because my cheeks would start paining. Hurry, finally. Okay. So this is the reason why I kept sexual thing at last, so that you all don't get overwhelmed. But yeah, it's very overwhelming. I understand. So would it be okay if I upload sexual topics videos so that you all don't get triggered in the drive, or should I send it to ones only who are comfortable, or in the group, whatever you all are comfortable?
Yes, ma'am. You can
Ma'am, you
send in the group.
Okay. So I'll share all the materials on sex, and but if I get this book's soft copy, I would request each and everyone to at least read it. If I'm not getting a soft copy also, I would request everyone to at least, it's a 100 rupees book. I liked it. And I'm going to share the Instagram link of Seema Anand, and I hope you all know Neha Bhatt and Pallavi ma'am. You can check out their videos on actually what exactly is sex, or what exactly is sex therapy, because sex is a huge thing and in one day it's honestly it's not possible. But I tried my level best to talk about Sensate focus. But definitely I would be coming up with few more free webinars on sex therapy. I would request, Tanya is not there right now, I believe, so don't worry. Don't So whenever I'm coming up with the free courses, if you all are there in my own group, like which is Wondering Mind by Shraddhanjali, you can get that to know. But next year, Abhi not in this year. Next year in the month of January, I am coming up with sex course, as which David sir would be talking about, because David sir would be coming. David Matlab, there are two sort of David sir, Dr. David Bhatia. Uh, he would be talking about sex. Yes, Neha ma'am.
ma'am, which group you are talking about?
It's the main group of mine where all my team members circulate courses and webinars.
I think
Can
it's
I get this
Instagram, ma'am. No?
so
You are
that
talking about the Instagram group,
No, no,
like
no, no.
not
Instagram wala
WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group.
Okay,
Huh?
WhatsApp group. Okay.
Mm.
ma'am, could you please send the link of it so
Okay,
that it
okay.
will
I'll share. I'll share. I'll share. I'll share. Just after the class only, I'll share.
oh,
So yes, and yeah. So let me all know, did you all like the whole 4-day webinar, or did you all not like? Let me know. I would open-heartedly like accept even negative feedback. I won't mind. So Ravindra sir came up after, but sir, you did not come up on camera. I'm angry with him. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you all. But uh, before 25th, I'm coming up with a free webinar on King affirmation. Though I would be Rashi ma'am. Videos are there. I have uploaded all the videos in my YouTube so that you all can have a like you all can get a check every time whenever you all need. Because from the drive it can get deleted after some number of month, but I have uploaded it. Don't worry. Okay. So before 25th December, I'm coming up with a free webinar on King affirmation therapy. So I would request you all to attend so that you all can understand what exactly is King affirmation. Or is it a healthier thing or not? But Neha ma'am, the masturbation one, I'm going to give it. Like, give me at least post lunch dinner. I'm going to send it.
Okay, ma'am, no problem.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you all next in my next webinars. So yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll see you.
Bye bye. Good night.